Welcome to part 13 of this Dave on Data tutorial series, a Python crash course. The topic of this video is using lambdas. In the last video, I covered writing your own Python functions. You can think of lambdas as mini functions that have no name, technically what are known as anonymous functions. As you will learn in the upcoming pandas tutorial, it is common to use lambdas as part of your data cleaning and transformation workflow. As always, please follow along with this video by typing the code that I type. Don't hesitate to pause or rewind the video if you need to, because you learn Python by writing Python. As you can see here, I've created a brand new Jupyter notebook to hold the lambdas code for this particular video lesson. And you can see that I've added a comment already that lambdas are small anonymous functions. And I mentioned this in the intro, but that's a bit abstract. So let's take a look at what this means in practice using Python code. Now, not surprisingly, the Python keyword that you use for defining a lambda is lambda. And this is analogous to the def keyword we saw in the last video for defining a full-blown Python function. Now, next up, what you do with your lambda is you specify parameters. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and say x is my parameter. So notice how I don't have a name for this function. All I have is a declaration that it's a lambda, and then I talk about the variable, which I'm calling x. And I could call this foo or bar, but I'm going to call it x just for the sake of argument. And then we use a colon, which is a very common syntax in Python to say, look, everything past the colon is my code. And my code can be anything I want to operate on the variable, the parameter that I'm taking in. In this case, my parameter is called x. So what I can do here is something completely contrived. I'll check to see if the value of x is equivalent to the string value of stuff. And this is not particularly useful as currently defined. So what I can do is I can wrap this in parentheses, and Python will say, oh, okay, Dave is creating a Lambda object. Because remember, everything in Python is an object, including your functions. So it stands to reason that lambdas are objects too. So what this does is create a Lambda object with no name, and I can actually then use it by taking this object and then saying, hey, I would like to pass in a value of 9. And this 9 will come into the lambda as parameter x, and then this code will be executed. Is the current value of x equivalent to the string value of stuff? No, it's the integer value of 9. So this should return back false. So if I run this, sure enough, that's what we get back. Now we can actually prove, or I can prove to you anyway, that lambdas are functions and functions are objects, ergo lambdas are objects. So what I can do here is I can say, hey, x equals lambda x equals stuff. And then I can do cool things like now I can invoke x and pass it in stuff. Now notice this is a lot of x's, right? I could have named these things anything. This could have been foo, and this could have been bar, so on and so forth. But I'm just using x to keep things simple. Now we can also do things like, hey, what is type x? Notice that class function comes back. So this goes to show you that lambda is in fact a function. Lambdas are extremely small mini functions. Think of them as one-liners. If you need multiple lines or complex logic in your function, lambda is not the right thing for you. Then you would just use the def keyword and create a full-blown function in Python. But one of the cool things that you can do is use constructs like if-else, because if-else represents a single line of code, technically what's known as a single statement. And that's totally useful and totally appropriate for lambdas. So let's see how that works. Lambdas can use if-else. So we can do lambda here, x, and we're going to print true. Now notice the interesting syntax here. We're actually providing the lambda the thing to do first if my if-else condition is true. So print true if x is equal to the string value of stuff. So if this is true, then print true. I know it's a little bit funky, but that's just the way it works. And then else we can print. And this is totally legit. This is how we can use if-else's inside of lambdas. And this is actually pretty useful. You'll tend to do this kind of thing conceptually quite a lot in your code for cleaning and transforming your data. And as I mentioned in the intro, I'm going to talk a lot more about that in the next video on pandas. So we've got our lambda here, and if I pass it in a 9, we should get false printed out. And if I pass in stuff, I get true printed out, exactly as we would expect. So this is really cool. We do this a lot, like I said. in analytics code. We use these lambdas, these little small inline anonymous functions for transforming things. So for example, let's say that you had a particular column of data and you wanted certain values in the original data to be replaced with new values, cleaned up values. You could use something like this to do that. So lambdas are extremely helpful. Now, what we also see often is that lambdas are used to be passed into other functions. And let me give you an example here. I'm going to create a list first because we're going to use this. And 20, 30, 40, 50. So I'm going to create a list called myList. And there is a function that exists in base Python called filter. This is a function. You can see how it's turned green here. Filter allows you to apply, not surprisingly, a filter to an object. In this case, what we can do is we can use the filter function to filter my list. So what we do is we say, okay, the second parameter is the object that you would like to filter. And in this case, it happens to be my list. Now, the first parameter that we need to pass to the filter function is the criterion that we use for the filter. We need to define the logic that we use to filter the myList list. And we can use a lambda for this. So we can say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and put a lambda in here. I'm going to use the variable name val, the parameter name val. And then we can say, hey, if val is greater than 20, that's my condition. So what will end up happening is every value of my list will be iterated over, will be looked at by the filter function, and it will apply this particular lambda to each value. And those values that come back true from this lambda will be kept from the filter. And just to show you how this works, let's go ahead and create a new list. And what I will do is transform the return output of the filter function into a list, and then we can say new list. And when I run this, sure enough, I get back 30, 40, and 50 because the value of 10 returns back false from this lambda, so it's not kept. Same with 20, and then 30 is kept, 40 is kept, and 50 is kept. And this pattern is pretty common in Python programming, where you have a function that says, hey, look, I'll do something for you, but you need to provide me some sort of direction, some sort of instructions to follow. And lambdas are often used to define those instructions, just like we see here. That's it for lambdas. Very much a crash course here on lambdas. You're going to see a lot more about lambda usage in the next video on pandas, as I've mentioned several times now. That video is coming up soon. Don't forget to save your notebook here. Shut down the notebook, shut down the Jupyter server in case you need to, just free up resources on your computer. And that's it for this video. The video for pandas will show up here on the screen when it's ready. And until then, please stay healthy, and I wish you very happy data sleuthing.